Hi and welcome guys, Castle Queenside here. Today we have another great game on our hands. This one was played between Winawer Szymon, who was playing with white pieces, and Shumov Ilya, who was playing with black pieces. This game was played in 1875, so there was still new things in chess to be invented. And what is interesting about this game is that Mr. Winawer created an amazing attack on the black king and finished the game with style. So without further ado, we will go straight into the game. The game started with e4 and e5 for the black, knight f3, and Shumov Ilya responded with knight f6. So this is the pattern of defense. Knight takes on e5, d6 for the black, knight goes back on f3, and knight recaptures this pawn. d4 was played for Winawer, and d5 was played for Shumov Ilya, so he's basically protecting this knight here. Bishop d3 and bishop e7, normal developing moves. Castle kingside for Winawer and castle kingside for Shumov. And now Winawer strikes in the center with c4, already attacking this pawn, and if this pawn falls, this knight will be under attack. So that is the reason why black decides to go knight f6. Right now he's removing the threat of this vulnerable knight and he's protecting the pawn on d5. Knight c3 was played for white, developing move, putting even more pressure on this pawn. D takes on c4, bishop takes on c4, and knight c6 was played for the black. Right now, in this position, Winawer strikes the center and plays d5. The only logical move for white is knight a5, attacking this strong white bishop, but Winawer doesn't want to give this bishop up. Obviously, he's really strong, and he plays bishop d3, already preparing some sort of attacks and already putting the bishop on this strong field d3. b6 was played for the black with the idea to fianchetto this bishop on b7, and a3 was played for the white to stop the bishop from coming on b4, and of course right now pushing the pawn on b4 is possible, and that's the idea of Winawer in this position. Bishop g4 was played for the black, pinning this knight and trying to remove some sort of threat, because this knight is a threat in the center and impossible attack on the king. b4 was played for the black, and now Ilya first takes on f3. In this position, white decides to take g takes on f3. So he decides to make a double pawns and leave this g file opened so he can create an attack on the king's win, but with the same he's weakening his king. The next move for black was knight b7 and king h1 with the idea to put this rook on g1, obviously. So black notices this and he plays queen d7, trying to remove these white fields from the white, and of course preparing his queen to enter on h3 and maybe create some sort of threat or counter-attack. So rook goes on g1, obvious move, and rook a goes on d8 for the black, putting even more pressure on this pawn, and right now this pawn is hanging. The next move was bishop b2, again developing his last piece, and now knight h5 was played with the idea to put this knight on f4 and attack this bishop and maybe create some counterplay. We're coming in one of the crucial parts of the game, because right now white played f4. So f4, it seems like this pawn is free for taking, but it's actually not, and we will see why. So in the game, queen h3 was played, but just in case the black decided to take this pawn, the game would continue with rook takes on g7 with a check, king takes on g7, knight e2 is a check from this bishop on b2, a discovered check. Bishop f6 is the best continuation in this position. Bishop takes on f6, check, king takes on f6, and knight takes on f4. The black still has material advantage, but not for long. Rook d on e8, queen h5, already putting sort of a cage on the black king. The king is forced to retreat back. Bishop f5, attacking this queen. queen d6, queen h4 check, f6 for the black, and rook g1 now with the idea of putting this rook on g7 and creating a massive threats on the 7th rank. That is why black has to play a rook f7. After that, rook e1 is the best move for white, king d8, and knight e6. After this move, putting the king on the white fields is not an option, and you will see why. So, for example, if the black king decides to go on d7 in this position, then the best move is knight c5 check. The king is forced to go to only open field, which is d8, and what follows is a beautiful knight b7 checkmate, and also it is a fork on the black queen. So that is why after knight e6 check, the black has to take this rook and hope for the best. D takes on e6, rook e7, and queen takes on f6. So this will be the final position and the best possible outcome for black. Still, the game is winning for white here, there is no question about that, but still this was the best option to at least stay in the game somehow. We will go back in this position and see what would happen, for example, if after rook g7, for example, the black king decided to go on h8. The game would continue as following: queen h5, already threatening a checkmate here. The knight is forced to take this queen. The game would continue with rook h7 check, king g8, rook g1 check, knight g3, rook takes on g3 check, bishop g5, and bishop takes on g5, another beautiful checkmate in this position. So that is the reason why taking this pawn was not an option in black's position. So after f4, the black played the only good move and the best move, which is queen h3, trying at least to create some counterplay and maybe scare white, put some fear in white's position. So the game continued with knight e4, and now this pawn is hanging, which black uses for his advantage and takes this pawn. After this, of course, he also thinks that this knight is protected now by queen and the rook. And again, this is the critical part of the position, because the white played an incredible move, and see if you can find it. I will give you a few seconds. See what is the best move for white in this position. The best move is queen takes on h5. So right now this queen is hanging, both from the black queen on h3 and the black rook. We will see what would happen first if the black decides to take this. In the game, of course, was rook h5 was played, but let's see what would happen if the black queen decided to take the white queen. Then the game would continue with rook takes on g7 check, king h8, rook takes on f7. If the king decides to go on g8 again, then the game would continue with rook g7, king h8, rook takes on e7 check, king g8, rook g7 check, king h8, rook g5 check, the only move rook e5, bishop takes on e5 check, rook f6, and bishop f6, a beautiful checkmate would follow. In this position, after rook takes on f7 check, the black can play rook e5. The game would continue with bishop e5 check, queen takes on e5, rook f8 check, bishop takes on f8, and f takes on e5 with a huge material advantage, a full rook, and one pawn of advantage for white. So this is a one game for white. So that is the reason why taking this queen with the queen was not an option. So the black played rook takes on h5. The game continued with rook takes on g7 check, king goes on h8, rook takes on f7 check, king g8, rook g7 check, king h8, rook takes on e7 check, king g8, and rook g1 was played. After this move, black surrendered because there is an inevitable checkmate whatever black plays. For example, if he goes queen g4, then rook takes on g4 check, rook g5, and rook takes on g5 checkmate. So truly an incredible game. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment, like and subscribe. This would mean a lot to me as I'm trying to grow my channel. And again, thank you for watching, and as always, we will see each other in the next video. Bye bye.